Okay, Queen Sophia. No, I prepared 40 hashtags, no, to make it different. So what I'm going to do is I will just give you a hashtag, and what you need to do is to say anything about it. So there's no specific question about it, but it's up to you, to discuss something about that the hashtag. So it will bring out your personality.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah,
And
I
it
like
will bring out your perspectives, no, without without you knowing it, it will come out, right? The personality and all. Okay, let's start. Hashtag beautiful.
beautiful. Okay. Hashtag beautiful. Personally, I believe that beauty is truly a concept that radiates from within. I believe that being beautiful is not about your physical or materialistic or external world qualities, but it's more about your beliefs, your ideologies, and how you respond to the world. And I think everyone is beautiful in their own ways and has the capability to grow and foster that beauty into something even more advanced.
Okay, amazing. Sophisticated. Hashtag sophisticated.
Sophisticated. Being sophisticated is all about being elegant and classy and timeless. And also, I think a large part of sophistication is about having empathy and having the ability to put yourself into other people's shoes because, yeah, I think sophistication is being able to be a role model in very hard situations and inspire people to follow you.
Okay. Hashtag mental health.
Hmm. Well, as someone who struggles with anxiety and has definitely had depressive episodes in my life, I truly know how much mental health matters, especially in a modern age like today, where humanity can be so disconnected from each other. Even though that's so ironic, you would think we'd be more connected than ever because of all of our technology. But in some ways, I believe that it draws us apart from each other and it draws us apart from ourself and our true purpose on earth. And I think part of, showing respect for mental health is treating yourself with kindness and treating others in your space with kindness. Treat people how you want to be treated. Um, and when we start prioritizing ourselves and the people around us, I think there don't need to be a movement for mental health anymore because it will just be common knowledge.
Hashtag cyberbullying.
Cyberbullying. I'm very passionate about anti-cyberbullying. As someone who was a victim of cyberbullying, especially in middle school and a little bit throughout high school, I know how painful it can be to be in a situation where you don't have control over what's posted about you online, and it can be very hard to erase that digital footprint. And I think it's something that needs to be educated in schools because, let's face it, our world is progressing towards a very modernity. And I think now it's our responsibility to integrate that into our educational systems, how to be responsible online.
Hashtag unemployment.
Unemployment. Unemployment is interesting to me because I believe that everything you should do in your life should be done with 100% passion. And sometimes that does mean leaving the job you're at, um, or it might mean taking a risk, and pursuing your dreams. And I would say that everyone should, at one point in their life, take the opportunity to go after those dreams because we only have one life and it's up to us to find our purpose. And if you know that something brings you joy, you should grasp that with everything you've got and turn that into your reality.
Hashtag education.
Education is very important. I have always been, taking so much pride in my education and my academic life. But education is not only within the classroom. A lot of the greatest knowledge that I've acclaimed, I have learned in the external world from other people. I have learned within myself. And I think the most important lesson that I've learned is to question everything. Don't take everything so lightly. Don't be so compliant. Don't be a consumer in a society that wants to make a consumer out of you. Learn to question everything.
Hashtag gender inequality.
Gender inequality is something that's very real, and we're definitely facing it today, whether that's in the workplace or even, in more social affairs. Some places in the world more than others, but nevertheless, it's definitely a problem no matter where you are. And it's just one of those things as a society that we have to make efforts to learn to live with each other, no matter what gender you are, no matter if you identify as female or male or non-binary, anything. Everything should be celebrated.
Hashtag vaccines.
Vaccines are quite a hot topic at the moment, especially considering the pandemic. It's important to keep the people around us safe more than anything. If it means we can put our loved ones in a more comfortable position, we should definitely take that into account. If it means we can travel, if it means we can make room for more business, that should definitely be something to consider.
Hashtag love.
In life, there are only very few things that are eternal. Everything that we see and touch will deteriorate at one point. But our souls and our minds and love live on forever. They're not energy, because energy can be created and destroyed. But love has never been created and love will never be destroyed. It's just an eternal energy. And I think love really does have the power to bind us all together. And when everyone can open their minds up to this idea, we will have such a utopic Earth.
Wow. Hashtag climate change.
Climate change, global warming is something that I'm personally very, very passionate about. As someone who has grown up mostly in the Middle East and Asia my whole life, I have become very accustomed to the natural world. And especially within recent years, I have educated myself on climate change. I've educated myself on ways that I can contribute positively to protecting our Mother Earth. And one of the biggest ways that I do that is instilling a vegan lifestyle, because it lowers my carbon footprint compared to the average lifestyle. And I definitely feel a lot more fulfilled of myself too.
Okay, hashtag water.
Water. This might be a little controversial, but personally, I believe that capitalizing water is one of the greatest defeats that humans have ever faced. I think that water and food are, since they're a basic necessity to humans, they should be easily accessible or open to accessibility, and they should not be capitalized, because that definitely draws away from having equality between all of humanity.
Hashtag animals.
I feel so much compassion for animals. even sometimes I feel scared with some animals. Some animals I love very, very much. But at the end of the day, I always like to remind myself not to partake in speciesism, which is the act of loving one animal more than another just based on its species. Because I believe that all sentient beings and all animals deserve the right to life. And I am in no position to decide which animals are more worthy of life than the other.
Hashtag Black Lives Matter.
Black lives do matter. I think there's been a very rich and deep history with racial segregation, not only in the US, but definitely in South Africa also. And it's something that we as humanity have to work on every day because healing takes time. And I don't think we're there yet because there's definitely a lot of discrimination on race.
Hashtag Drug Addiction.
Drug addiction is a very serious topic, but what I would want everyone to keep in mind is that everyone is on their own journey and everyone is just trying to live life the way that they feel they should. And we have to be mindful of each other because at the end of the day, we're all here for 3 common purposes: love, happiness, and our families. And no matter who you are, no matter where you are in your life, that's something we can always relate back to.
Hashtag Long Distance Relationship or LDR.
LDRs. Well, as someone who is quite well experienced with LDRs, my whole life, I've basically been an LDR since I moved so much. But I think there's so much power in being able to develop a connection with someone that isn't only based on physical attraction. Because when you do have kind of like the obligation to be apart from each other, it allows you to grow as an individual too. But it also allows you to have the time with them when you do see them. And even then, it makes the time that you do have together a lot more valuable. So, yeah.
Hashtag Teenage Pregnancy.
Teenage pregnancy. You know, I think that society gives a hard time for teenage mothers. And I think that they shouldn't because motherhood is motherhood no matter what point you're at in life. If you are ready for that, by all means, it's something beautiful to be a part of. I think, not from experience at all. But I think that motherhood is beautiful and should be celebrated, and women should not feel discouraged to partake in motherly behaviors.
Hashtag Premarital Sex.
Premarital sex. Well, I don't really consider myself religious in the sense that I follow a particular religion. However, I do consider myself a believer. I believe in divinity and I believe and trust in divine timing. And I think that when you find someone that you feel at one with and you feel at peace with, premarital sex is not an issue because to have a soul connection with someone, you can't throw that away no matter what point in life you're at.
My gosh, I love your answer. It penetrates to my whole being. Hashtag Same-sex marriage.
I feel very, very passionate about same-sex marriage as someone who has many close friends who are part of the LGBTQ plus community. I love to help them feel empowered. I love to be a part of that movement. It's literally celebrating love. Literally celebrating love. And celebrating love is not something that should be shoved into a corner. It should be accepted with open arms, because that is exactly what the LGBTQ plus community is asking of society.
Okay. Hashtag Mother Earth.
Mother Earth is my divine mother. I believe that Mother Earth birthed us all because she nourishes us with the food that we eat and relationships that we foster. I think that people have become so distracted with technology and industrialization and capitalism, and I think we need to backtrack a little bit, and we need to remember our roots, and we need to remember the tree of life, which Mother Earth comes from.
Hashtag plastic surgery.
Plastic surgery is probably some of the most impressive kind of medicinal like technologies that I can feast my eyes on. Personally, I am very content with myself, and I feel so lucky to feel that way. And it's not so easy that I just love myself. It was definitely a very long journey, and I spent a lot of time with myself. But I personally would never take part in plastic surgery, and that doesn't mean that I am against it, because I'm actually all for it. I'm all for women who want to feel empowered in their bodies and their, facial features or whatever. I just hope that people can instill the idea that plastic surgery is still setting abnormal beauty standards.
Hashtag music.
Music is something that I'm so passionate about. From the day that I was born, I feel like I was singing, and I truly, truly believe in sound healing. I believe that ancient civilizations use music as a form of medicine, and I really think it has the power to unite society.
Hashtag fake news.
Fake news. Well, living in a world that is so immersed in technology, and it's very easy to access news nowadays, we have to remember that news is still perspectives, and perspectives are filled with biases. And it's important to be able to identify which biases are a part of different news companies and news outlets, or even just certain individuals, because only then can we kind of make our own perception of knowledge.
Hashtag refugees.
I'm lucky that the world I live in isn't a war zone, but unfortunately, there are many people who live in parts of the world where there is economic inequality, and there is violence, and there is a huge part of conflict in daily society, which leads them to fleeing their countries. And it's very, very tough to address refugees, as we all want to keep each other safe. But I think everyone deserves a chance.
Hashtag plastic wastes.
Plastic waste is something that I've become very passionate about, especially within the last 2 years living in Bali, an island which is very eco-conscious and environmentally aware. Plastic is set to fill more of our oceans than fish does in 100 years from now, and I think that people need to start taking plastic pollution more seriously and address it more seriously, as we have been doing.
Hashtag COVID-19.
COVID-19 has been an experience that I could have never imagined that would play out for any of us here on this planet. But I think that it has really brought us more together than most people make it seem out to be. I think from having these quarantines, you know, from being away from the people that we love, we really have had the time to grow as individuals, and it has showed us what matters in life.
Hashtag Obama.
Obama. Obama, honestly, the whole Obama family is probably one of my favorite kind of presidencies that I've witnessed in my lifetime, just because I think not only was he a president, but he was, you know, part of society. He really made a lot of cultures feel like they were represented. And I think that's what we need to see in our leaders today is representation.
Okay. Hashtag vegan.
Vegan. As a vegan of 5 years now, being vegan and carrying out a vegan lifestyle is something I'm very passionate about. Veganism initially started out for me because I felt compassion for animals, but over time, it's actually taught me a lot about health, and it's taught me also a lot about the environment. And now these three things, you know, animals, health, and the environment are things that are very, very important to me. So I think carrying out a vegan lifestyle just makes sense.
Hashtag terrorism.
Terrorism. There are always going to be people with strong opinions in our world. And what matters is how we respond to other people. We cannot control other people, or we can to a certain extent. But at the end of the day, life is about how we can control our response.
Religion.
Personally, I'm very, very fascinated in religion. I'm so fascinated in the origins of humanity, the origins of religion, and the origins of cultures and civilizations. And I think religion contains a lot of secrets to the universe that need to be unmasked. And I think society tells us all the time that science, religion, and philosophy are three different entities, but I think there is so much more power if we combine the three of them.
Hashtag tourism.
Tourism, as someone who lives in Bali, tourism is very, very important because it takes up so much of the economy here, relies on tourism. And I think it's a win-win situation, really, because people need to get out there and people need to travel and they need to expose themselves to part of the world and different cultures and beliefs that they haven't yet seen.
Hashtag child exploitation.
Child exploitation. Even though it's something that maybe I haven't witnessed or maybe you haven't witnessed with your own lives, I know for a fact that it happens behind closed doors much more than we would expect. And I think that the best way that we can kind of bring awareness to this in society is break the stigma for talking about it, bring it more to light, bring it more into the mainstream media because it's not taboo. It's something that needs to be discussed.
Hashtag New York.
New York is on my bucket list. Seriously, I've never been to the US, but I think my number one, maybe number two, bucket list experience is going to New York for Christmas time. Mm-hmm.
Hashtag Thailand.
Thailand. Well, it's the country that will host my pageant, but to me, it's a lot more than that. I spent a lot of my time growing up in Thailand, really. My very close family friends are majority Thai. And I've always been very fascinated by Thai culture, and their food is so good. I can't get enough.
Hashtag Pakistan.
Pakistan. When I think of Pakistan, I actually think of a travel destination. I think that maybe it's not a mainstream travel choice to go to Pakistan, but I think it's so rich in culture and so rich in history. I would love to immerse myself in that environment.
Hashtag Philippines.
Well, the Philippines definitely holds a close place to my heart because I did used to live there. And for some reason, every place that I have lived in my life, I have always been very close friends with Filipino people. So yeah, but I think the Philippines is one of the most progressive countries in the world.
Okay. I do not know if you know this. Hashtag Duterte.
Duterte?
Yeah.
What is that?
Oh, the president of the Philippines.
Oh.
No, you do not. No. I'm just asking. Hashtag fight.
Fight. It is in our DNA to fight. It's also in our DNA to flight, though. And I think part of our purpose on Earth is to put ourselves in situations where we face the fight or flight instinct. And we have to tell ourselves every time to fight because I think it shapes us into who we are.
Hashtag Grand Indonesia.
Miss Grand Indonesia has been something that has really, really changed my life. But I don't think my life is going to just end here. I think this is just the beginning. I think that it's just opening new doors for me, and I can't wait to see what else will come.
Hashtag Grand International.
Grand International is something that is sneakily coming up to me with every day that passes, but I'm so excited and I'm very, very grateful and also proud that I can go there 100% confident in myself, knowing that not only am I representing the country, but I'm representing myself to the purest form.
Hashtag aging.
Aging. Aging is beautiful. I believe that aging is beautiful. A lot of people dread the idea of aging, the idea of old age, but in some ways, I can't wait because that's life. And I really think that it's a beautiful part of life.
Okay. Hashtag Sophia Rogan.
Sophia Rogan, sometimes I refer to as my alter ego because Sophia is quite extravagant and, you know, she represents the country and she is quite out there, but within Sophia is also Sophie, and Sophie is very not simple, but simple in ways that Sophia isn't, and she's very grateful and very empathetic, I like to believe. And these are qualities that I also want to bring to Grand International.
Hashtag advocacy.
Advocating for something is the reason that I'm a part of this. The reason that I choose to be immersed in the pageantry world is advocation. And I have definitely been trying to make more of an effort to advocate for the environment, for mental health, for whatever it may be, because I want to help in any way I can, because that's what it's all about. And I believe that's my purpose.
Hashtag marriage.
Marriage. I don't necessarily believe that marriage is a yes or marriage is a no. I believe that marriage is a personal decision and it's something you should fulfill if you really feel like you can commit to someone and love them eternally.
Hashtag euthanasia.
Euthanasia. Euthanasia, off the bat, brings me a feeling of sadness because euthanasia is talking about a loss of life, and life is beautiful. But there are people and there are animals who can't, they physically cannot put up with life, mostly because of health reasons. And usually they do have to undergo euthanasia. And I think that it's interesting that we have the power to do that, to play the role of God.
Okay, hashtag Jakarta.
Jakarta has taught me a lot. Even though it is probably not the place where I feel most connected to myself or most connected to my environment, it has been a place where I have personally fostered a lot of self-growth, and it has shaped me and molded me even more into a finer version of myself. So for that, I'm very grateful.
Hashtag Bali.
Now, Bali, on the other hand, Bali is a place that I love so dearly because I don't treat it as a holiday destination, I treat Bali as a doorway to the earth because that's what it is. When I come here, I feel connected, mind, body, and soul.
Hashtag makeup.
I love makeup. I love the power of makeup. I love how creative makeup can allow people to be, and how there is a whole community, on social media that is based off of makeup. I think it's beautiful.
Hashtag traffic in Jakarta.
Traffic in Jakarta is probably one of the worst things because I can be stuck in there for hours and I hate it. I hate it so much, but that's life.
Hashtag authenticity.
Authenticity is something that I am all about. I am here trying to represent my most authentic self because my message is that if I can do it as my most authentic self, so can you. And you don't have to feel pressured to conform to societal standards.
Hashtag Yayasan Dunya Mega Bintang.
Yayasan Dunia Mega Bintang really gave me a golden opportunity here, really opened me up to this crazy, chaotic, beautiful lifestyle. And I'm very, very grateful for them. I'll always be grateful for them.
Okay. Hashtag being alone.
Being alone. You know what? I used to think of being alone as something negative and sad and depressing, but now I really value my time alone because I learn a lot more about myself when I'm alone.
Hashtag women empowerment.
Women's empowerment is super important today in a world where there is so much gender inequality and there is so much segregation and discrimination against women. I think that women know this though, and we're strong enough to come together and band as one.
Okay. My gosh, you're so good, Sophia.
Really?
My gosh. I mean, you always have a way to answer a question, no?
Uh,
Okay, hashtag beauty queen.
Beauty queen. Part of my message of showing up as your authentic self is to prove that being a beauty queen is not about sitting still and looking pretty. There's so much more to being a beauty queen than what is perceived on the outside. It's all about your soul and your heart.
Okay, so hashtag I ran out of the hashtag because I prepared actually 40 hashtags for you, and actually we exceeded 40. No, I was thinking on the side while you were speaking. I was thinking. Oh, yeah, that's how fast you are because you're very articulate, right? That's the power of being very articulate woman. We finish everything. No, because that's amazing because of because your answer actually brings out and introduces. I mean, it introduces you to the world, right? I mean, who you are as a person. I mean, the good thing about you, actually, the good thing about you is that you always have a way of, you have a different technique in answering a question. You make a simple word and question very powerful because of your answer, right?
So nice.
Yeah. So, okay, let me give you three questions this time, no? Okay. Why do you think you should be the next Miss Grand International?
Well, I am asked this question a lot. And to be honest, I don't think that I am any more or less worthy than all the other candidates. I just think I have a type of uniqueness to offer, and that is that I'm very content with who I am. I'm very open minded. I am very empathetic, and I've put myself into other people's shoes, and I've grown up in various lifestyles. And I think I'm all about representation, and I hope that I can represent a lot of people as a role model as Miss Grand International.
If you will be crowned the next Miss Grand International, what are the first project or what is the first project or what are the first projects that you're going to push?
If I had the opportunity to become the next Miss Grand International, I would probably continue to push and advocate for the environment because I want to make it something more mainstream. I don't believe that the environment should be overlooked anymore as an avocation that is only made for Miss Earth or other specific pageants or specific people. The environment, and this is common knowledge, is something that links us all. Therefore, it should be at the utmost importance.
Okay. If you will be the next Miss Grand International, how are you going to pursue your advocacy? How are you going to bring it all over the world, globally?
Well, if I were to pursue my advocacy for the environment, I would love to hit probably the biggest rainforest, like the Amazon, and maybe protests for deforestation. I would love to hit really sustainable businesses, hoteliers, endorse them, work with communities that are sustainable and ethical, and educate my followers and the followers of Miss Grand International about alternate lifestyles that are more efficient and more sustainable for our future.
Okay, so and the winner for the 2021 Miss Grand International is, envelope please.
Philippines.
No, Miss Grand Indonesia. My gosh, you're so beautiful. You're so good. So imagine more than 40 hashtags and you just wing it. You just, You just, answer them with so much ease and clarity. That's how Sophia Rogan is. That's my Miss Grand Indonesia.
My best.
Uh,